What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Legit Football NFL podcast. It is your boy, Kevin Phillip Fox, and I'm here today, and I'm not here alone. It is Valentine's Day, and so I figured it would be a very fitting time for me to introduce perhaps my Valentine to the podcasting sphere. Not Adrian Revito, as I'm sure most of you thought, not Jimmy Ray, not Brian McFadden. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in Legit Football podcast history, my girlfriend, the French woman who I complain about all the time on the podcast, Ms. Roxanne De Palma, will be joining us. Roxanne, welcome into the show. What's going on?
I think it's so rude that you complain about me.
Well, this is like a safe space, this is like, I can vent on this podcast, me and Adrian, we call it like therapy. So like sometimes I need some therapizing, and your Bills related mental breakdowns, I need to vent sometimes when they happen.
Okay, I thought all the venting would be about your team constantly not making the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That's
that
what I
part
would be
sucks.
venting about.
I don't love that part either. But without further ado, Roxanne, we are going to give you the full podcast experience because
Yay!
you're a media girly, you're a ball knower as per your nickname. But we got to jump in here and we got to talk a little bit to regular Titan Maximum 239, who thinks that the Titans logo may have been leaked and it's a Temu low budget logo. Titan Maximum, if you could find a photo of that and comment it, I'd love to see that. But he's looking for the Oiler blue, which so classic, bro. Eloise the Plaza. Not familiar with who that person is, but she says the real ball knower. And
She
Armand,
knows.
the absolute goat, says, "Hey, all." Armand is a resident local here, so Armand holds it down in the chat for us. Titan Maximum. While I agree, I'm gonna refrain from reading this comment for I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Anyways, Roxanne, we do have quite a bit to talk about, and as a let's talk about your football fandom journey here. So tell us what made you so endeared by the NFL and why you chose the Bills Mafia as your fandom.
Well, I don't want to expose myself, but I'm actually from Massachusetts. So I had the grace of being, or I mean, the blessing, I guess, of watching a true dynasty, not only in basketball, but in football as well. I was living in Boston during many of the Patriots Super Bowl appearances, but as many of, or I guess has been mentioned, being a French woman, I didn't really grow up watching football or understand it. When my stepdad used to watch it, I thought it was so boring because all they would do is run and then get tackled and run and get tackled and run and get tackled. So I was like, what's the
Correct.
point of this game?
Yep.
And then Kevin introduced me to actually understanding football, and that's how he became such a good ball knower, is because he, being the nerd that he is, like explained to me like offense versus defense and like the strategy of it all, and then I really got into it. And then obviously at that point the Patriots weren't that good anymore, and also I wanted to like bond with this guy, and so I was like, oh, I like his football team, I'll cheer with him. And also I was the Bills' good luck charm, so I feel like I couldn't abandon them. And so that's how I became a Bills fan, which is very tragic for my family. And for me, honestly, because guess what? Patriots were in the Super Bowl this year and the Bills were not. So
Yeah, but to be fair, and getting into the great summary, Roxanne, couldn't have said it better myself. You are a true ball knower and you are a true student of the game. I couldn't be more proud of you when we're at a Super Bowl party and somebody asks a football question and you're the one who answers it. Really, I'm getting ready to like show off my ball knowledge and you just kind of intercept it and kind of, look cooler than me. But
I mean, that
um,
is one of my favorite plays in football. I love a good pick six.
yeah, pick sixes are sick. So it's pretty. I do believe it to be pretty imperative that we address a couple of things here. We have Joe Holland in the chat. Got good skits on the show before me. I might stop watching football. TBH. Hey Joe, you got a standing invitation, man. You got a standing invitation. Eloise, resident Seahawks fan. Congratulations. We're gonna be talking about the Super Bowl in just a minute. If only the chat would die down. It's just popping right now. Armand. couldn't agree more. It could be worse. You could be a Jets fan like me. Poor Armand. We adore him on the show, and him and I we have our AFC East banter, but you know, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better for the Jets. But you get Glenn out of the building, you get another first overall pick. Maybe there's some hope in next year, not this year, 2026, wasted year. Oh, here we are. Here we are, Mr. Adrian Revito himself, the man from down under. As your true Valentine, I'm rightfully calling attention to the new haircut. I feel like the majority of this episode should be breaking down Rox's views on the new do. Y'all don't want to hear that, man. That's NSFW. That's NSFW, her thoughts on the do. Go ahead, Rox. Tell him what you think.
It's my favorite hairstyle that he has.
Yeah, absolutely. And toothbrush 1016. What is Drake May making it to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen in NBA terms? Let me think about this for a second. This in NBA terms is I think it's Gilgeous Alexander. No, because he won it. I think it's Luca making it to this. No, because Drake May is not Luca. Josh is Luca in that situation. Who's a player? Okay, it's Halliburton making it to the NBA Finals and losing, getting undressed in the NBA Finals. Admittedly, he tore his Achilles. Let's give him some grace in Game 7. It's Halliburton making it to the NBA Finals before Jalen Brunson. There you go. I'm also going to say PSA, your boyfriend can't regularly call you the ball knower, the double entendre alone is going to be fuel for my next 16 pods. So I probably shouldn't have read this out loud had I known what he was going for there. But we're a little too late for that. We've already done it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we do have a Super Bowl to talk about. The Seattle Seahawks demolished, dismantled, undressed the New England Patriots, 29-13. Very heartwarming experience for us Bills fans and those who accuse the Patriots of just being schedule merchants. Roxanne, what was your number one takeaway from watching the Super Bowl this year?
I think that the number one takeaway from me was that what was meant to happen, like it finally caught up to the Patriots. And what I mean by that is that I have given, in my opinion, credit where credit is due. Mike Vrabel completely turned the team around, completely turned the dynamic, changed the chemistry, molded Drake May into the QB that he was this year. But there is a reason maybe that the stats that he had, I would love to compare it with like other rookie QBs with different schedules. It's a lot of research to be done. Like you can only show up and play who you're going to play, and sometimes you get lucky and you beat the teams that you got to beat, but you have to also know who you're playing. And for example, like one of the things I had seen early on was that like the Patriots only played two top 15 defenses in their regular season. One of them was the Bills, and the Bills have the 15th defense in the league. So you only played really one top 15 defense. And I thought for me, granted, the Patriots had a great regular season. They played who they were meant to play. They utilized this schedule the way that they could. They won all those games. And for me, I was like, okay, great. You know what? Congrats to them. They did good. They had a good showing. Now it's the playoffs. They're gonna face the best of the best. Their true colors are gonna show. They're going to get quote unquote exposed. And obviously, in true Patriots fashion, the luck kept going. They faced the Chargers, who have no O line. The fact that they even made it that far, congrats to them. They faced the Texans, who had no Nico Collins, their number one wide receiver. And they faced, you're welcome, Broncos with a backup QB. So it's just like, okay, I thought it was going to catch up to them. It didn't. So truly, I think that the Seahawks is one of the, I'm not going to say few, but one of the teams this season that they faced with their full defense and their full offense. Because I feel like other games that they had, like they faced the Bengals without Joe Burrow and without Jamar Chase. What? Am I rambling?
No. You, I mean, I'm loving what you're saying. I'm just letting you cook, but I'm just admiring the chat. It's a little
Oh,
chaotic. It's a little toxic. I would say
I'm
maybe.
scared. Oh, I'm not
No,
even
no, no,
looking
no.
at the
You're good. It
comments.
ain't about you. You're good. It's infighting.
Okay. Well, long story short, all I'm gonna say is I respect teams who show up and fight every game. That's what you're supposed to do. You're like, I don't think it's fair to quote unquote like blame the Patriots being like, well, you guys had an easy schedule, like Mickey Mouse ring. I know you love to say that. For me, like that's out of their control. They
Yep.
can't control you like Sean McDermott used to say, you got to control your controllables. And that's exactly what the Patriots did. And that's exactly how they got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
There was some luck along the way, but you can't fault people for getting lucky. People get
Yeah.
lucky all the time in life.
Yep.
But I think for me, I was hoping that it would the luck would run out, it would catch up to them. That's why I bet $50 for the Patriots not to make it to the Super Bowl because I was so confident that the playoffs would be their true real test. And unfortunately, their true real test was the Super Bowl, and they faced a fully healthy offense with their starting quarterback and all their starting lineup
Yeah.
and a great defense.
Down. Zach Charbonnet hurts. JSN had an ankle thing the whole game. So I mean, even the Seahawks, I mean, they weren't punching at 100% on offense. They were punching maybe 80% in that game. But JSN is such a huge piece of the pie. So JSN having an ankle thing in that second half really, I think, slowed down the momentum of Seattle's offense. I think that's part of the reason why they weren't as on fire as we were used to seeing them. So without further ado, Rox, let's catch up on the chat, and then I'll give you some rebuttals
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
trying
to
to
the
take a peek.
and then I'll give you some rebuttals to the rant that you just went on. 6 minutes. You're rivaling Adrian Revito for run on sentences. I'm impressed. Um, I think Adrian can ramble like nobody else I've ever seen, but that was up there. That's a Hall of Fame ramble right there. We got Joe Craig. Beans' job should be on the line, especially after bringing a 71-year-old John Fox. Joe Brady's first-time head coach. He's going to need experience in the room, and John Fox is a legend. Don't hate. Super Bowl sucked. Fair. I'm going to skip a couple with the foul language. 12-man D is elite. I agree with that. Don't you think Sam Arnold got carried by his roster? Dude is a bust. Why do I care so much about JA17? Same here, bro. I'd rather lose 10 Super Bowls with him than win one without him. And I mean that with everything in my heart. If you're gonna hate on our QB, that's a Seahawks fan, you gotta at least spell his name right. Sam Arnold, an absolute legend. AJ Barner would be a star. Too bad we lost your rent money on that faithful Monday Night Football a couple years ago. Me and Joe lost a bean betting AJ Barner on Thursday Night Football. It's Thursday Night Football. Good times. You know what? Let's tie it up, Rox. I got a couple things I want to say about the Super Bowl. So first and foremost, yeah, unfortunately, the Patriots are who we thought they were. It's really unfortunate. It took all the way until the big dance for us to see that. I personally felt, as you said, Rox, we would see it at any given point. And I think if that ref, Carl Cheffers, correctly calls that Cooks catch a catch, not only are the Bills representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, but I think we have our first images of JA17 hoisting the Lombardi. That was a very consequential missed call. And I hope the league is happy that they got a 23-year-old doof like Drake May throwing up all over himself in the big game.
That's not fair.
What's not fair?
That you can't be mean to him.
What it's just what I perceive. I'm sorry. It's just, I like the kid a lot. He's a baller. He's
Then
clearly a
why do you
baller
call him a doof?
because he's a doof. Ballers can be doofs.
Okay.
Josh Allen was a doof before he glowed up and started dating Haley Steinfeld. Go watch Josh Allen's video where he got drafted and tell me that ain't a doof.
Yeah, he looks like a baby.
Yeah, exactly. Drake May is still in his doof phase of quarterbacking.
Okay.
He'll get out of it. Titan Maximum seems to think the Seahawks would have beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure, man. We didn't quite get seeing Ghost Darnold, but we didn't quite get like a great version of Sam Darnold. Darnold was fine in that game. It takes a special kind of game for a quarterback to win the Super Bowl and not win MVP. Like you have to kind of like borderline suck a little bit. And lucky for Seattle, Ken Walker found an absolute insane. Okay, Eloise, that's just not necessary. I'm just calling it like I see it, as a resident ball knower, as the host. So if you want to start your own podcast and talk your
I
little
think I
mess.
think she's responding to a comment that was in the
Oh,
chat
I definitely thought she was
previously.
talking about me.
No, 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 no,
Oh, okay, I forgive you, Eloise. I take back what I said. You don't have to start your own podcast to rebuttal to me. But luckily for Seattle, Kenneth Walker found peak Kenneth Walker form. I was so impressed by him the whole playoffs, really. He's going to be a free agent this year. I think Kenneth Walker is going to get an absolute bag, probably from Seattle. I think you got to pay him if he's your reigning Super Bowl MVP. But it'll be interesting to see how that decision shakes out for Seattle. As I said before, JSN got kind of clamped by Christian Gonzalez. Even when he was in the game, he had an ankle thing, so he was very limited, but it did not stop Seattle from moving the ball at least enough to get into field goal range. Unbelievable. Jason Myers probably should have been the MVP. Booten, I think, 5 field goals. Pretty incredible stuff. Me and Adrian last week talked about what we were betting our rent on, and I did indeed call the Ramondre Stevenson receiving yards, which did cash. Unfortunately, I bet my rent on a lot of things in that game, and that one wasn't enough to save me from having a nightmare day. But it wasn't quite as bad as last year's Super Bowl for me in the betting perspective. Eloise starting her own podcast. Send me the link. I will harass you in the comments. We have LAAA. Walker will reset the market for running backs. I completely agree. Myers, most points in a Super Bowl or something like that. Most points, I think, ever in a season as well by a player, like all time, I think. Maybe the Seahawks would have an extra ring if they ran the ball instead of throwing it. Okay, be nice, you two. I'm about to start, about to start throwing flags in the chat if we keep this beef up. Roxanne, let's talk about the X's and O's of the Super Bowl, because I know you're a big X's and O's girly. What do you think it was about the Seattle Seahawks game plan on defense that was able to stop the reigning or the runner-up NFL MVP Drake May from getting anything going?
Well, I just think that the Patriots have a really good defense too. How many punts were there in the game?
Too many.
Because the Seahawks punted a lot, low key.
Yeah, both
And
teams.
also their first like 3 scoring where are you laughing at the comments again?
Toothbrush says, sorry, Eloise, don't want to get booted. I love it, Toothbrush. I appreciate you. You're being
Um
a real scholar.
the first three like the first 3 times they put points on the board, I'm pretty sure it was field goals. Like for me, I always say when I'm watching a game, if you can't turn the ball over and you can't force a punt, the best thing after that comes after that is just forcing them to a field goal. And the fact that the Patriots defense was able to do that is really good. And the Seahawks, I mean, we obviously didn't come in with like my numbers and everything, but I would love to see how many times the Seahawks punted versus how many times the Patriots punted. And honest, the Seahawks did punt a decent amount of times. So I think the big difference in the game was the offense. Because we've seen the again, I'm gonna bring this back to the Broncos game. The defense won the Patriots that game because they turned the ball over in the red zone or in the end zone. The Broncos are in the Super Bowl if the defense doesn't make that play.
Yeah.
So I don't know like
But let's
what
not forget, Rox, because I feel like I'm liking where you're going with this, and I think you're making some good points. But let's not forget, we're talking about the runner-up NFL MVP.
but that's the okay. And I'm gonna say something that it might be controversial. I think that there is not a lot of what's the word I use? I've told you this before. Like Kev, what's the word?
Empty calories.
N-
Are you talking
no.
about Drake May's stats
No, no,
or
no. I'm talking about the people voting. Oh. There was a lack of critical thinking, I think. Because people were just looking at the big, beautiful cover. Oh my God, wow. Their record is like 13-2. Wow, he must be really good. And they did not read between the lines of why they had that record.
you're
Only
referring to the
facing,
Patriots?
yes.
So
So
you're referring to
obviously,
anyone who voted. You're saying anybody who gave Drake May an MVP vote did not think critically about their MVP vote.
I mean, yeah,
Okay,
that's
no,
that's
that's fair. You got to
that's
say it with
my
your
own.
chest.
Oh yeah, that's my own personal
Sure,
opinion. I
sure.
think that, like,
So you thought
yes,
Stafford should have ran away with it?
not necessarily ran away with it. I think that there could have been like more people, like, I mean, I guess it's usually a QB, and maybe like those were the two best ones. I don't think anyone ever runs away with it because people are always going to have different opinions. But who votes?
Yeah,
Is it players, or is it like,
it's media members. It's like past players. It's like credentialed
yeah, and
media,
obviously, a lot of
Associated
media
Press.
members are fucking oop, are biased too. Like that
So yeah, this
guy,
is a
what's his?
PG. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
give you a little.
sorry, that
Wait, hold on, hold
guy.
on. Roxanne has to go to timeout. I'm sorry. 30 seconds with no Roxanne. We aren't supposed to curse on this podcast. This is a family show. I apologize to the good people for bringing her degeneracy to the show. She's gonna learn. She's gonna sit in timeout and she's gonna come back in 30 seconds. She's gonna apologize for what she did, and we're gonna be okay. But I think Roxanne was making a great point about the Drake May thing. I honestly I didn't hate that he got first place votes. I would have had a hard time after Stafford threw up all over himself multiple times on primetime at the end of the season. I really genuinely thought there was a chance that Stafford blew it. And yeah, it would have definitely sucked if a player with that schedule got an MVP in their second season and a Super Bowl appearance. Like, those are accolades. Look, it took Josh Allen 7 or 8 years to get an MVP, and he still doesn't have a Super Bowl appearance. So it's kind of sickening. But and ladies and gentlemen, the timeout is over. Roxanne, what would you like to say to the kids who are watching and are disappointed
I'm
now?
so sorry. Swearing is really bad. And
Good.
I'm gonna
Thank
go
you.
eat some soap.
Good. Okay. So, anyways, without further ado, all right. Without further ado, we're gonna get back. We're gonna finish up our Super Bowl discussion. Then we have one more topic to get to today. It's gonna be a quick pod because it is Valentine's Day. So I know a lot of you have hot dates to go on. Not us. I'm working tonight.
I do.
Unfortunately, Roxanne's having a Valentine's Day. So without further ado, they always say who is the most valuable to their team, who the team needs the most, and Josh Allen did it all on his back. Lamar deserved it last year stats wise, but this year Josh deserved it. It's an interesting take, man. This is the first year when Josh caught first place votes that I was like, I always think Josh Allen deserves the MVP just because, yeah, you talk about value. He does it all without any other all pros. He does it all without, any weapons except for James Cook. Let's not take away from James Cook, the rushing leader in the NFL last year. And we're going to find out how much Joe Brady can string it together next year, but it's a very fair point. Armand cracking me up. Flag on stream. Vogel word on Roxanne. 30-second timeout. One more. She's ejected. So that's a yellow card, Roxanne. One more.
This
It's
isn't
red.
soccer.
One more. It's
It's
red.
football.
So then that's your first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and one more, you get ejected. So let's just tie up the Super Bowl discussion because I feel like there's quite a bit to be discussed. Obviously, Rox, what I was kind of getting at with you earlier is that I personally believe that the reason that the New England Patriots lost the Super Bowl was internal pressure. They
Yeah.
collapsed the pocket on Drake May, and they sent exotic blitzes. They showed corners and linebackers, and they always had a front that was flooded, and a lot of the times they dropped back. Drake May, he never ever had a sliver of an idea of who was coming and who wasn't. And that's how they got him off schedule. They got him out of rhythm. And apparently the shoulder thing is pretty serious. I don't know if I completely think that's legit. I think it's them just being like, oh, look, there's an excuse for our little kid quarterback not winning Super Bowl. But whether or not it is or not, it looked like it was affecting him by the end of the game, and the beating he took, it probably didn't help. It was nice. Yeah. LAAA makes a great point. Terrible game planning by the Patriots. Kind of felt like they weren't prepared. It didn't really feel like they had much of a strategy to counter McDonald's aggression. So I got to give a big X to Mike Vrabel, not using Henderson in the run game. When they did, LAA, they were explosive. So kind of a disappointing game plan from the Pats. Josh McDaniels, you expect more. But if Drake May wasn't 100%, I mean, very valid reasoning why maybe he threw up all over himself in the way that he did. One last point on the Super Bowl before we move on, Roxanne. I'll make a point and then I'll see your thoughts on it. There's a lot of discussion about whether or not the Patriots deserve to be there or not, throw that in the trash. It doesn't matter. They were the AFC representative from the Super Bowl. They were the AFC champions, and nobody can ever take that away from them, right? But you turn the page now. It's 2026. Every single team in the NFL is 0-0 now.
Yeah.
So the Patriots, they have a long climb to get back, and now they have a first place schedule that they have to face, and they have the Super Bowl, the dreaded Super Bowl hangover to face with it. They do have cap space, and they have a quarterback on a rookie deal. What do we think the Patriots need to do? And this is kind of tying in with the toothbrush question here. What moves do the Patriots need to make this summer, and what do we foresee for them in the future with what they're up against?
Okay. I think there's two things that they can do. One, shake it off and move on.
It's important. Yeah, you got to flush the game tape. You got to flush the game tape.
Exactly. It
Pretend it
happened
didn't
last
happen.
year.
It's hard to
Exactly.
do. It's hard to do.
And then they probably are gonna need some wide receivers because I don't know if they're gonna get Diggs back. I don't know if they want to get Diggs back. He
Yeah,
does
who
not
knows with
he
the
does not
legal
know how to show
situation.
up in the playoffs.
Yeah, true.
And he
Terrible.
has I think 3-year positive attitude with the team, and then his divaness comes out. So I don't know, what is this, his first or second year with the
This was his
Pats?
first year with the Pats.
Yeah, and obviously, like, we don't know what's gonna happen with his situation. And I'm a huge Mac fan. Loved him
Mhm.
on the Bills. He's actually Eloise's boyfriend. But I don't know if he's a wide receiver one. And so you gotta give Drake May some more targets. So maybe find
Yeah,
better targets.
I like that take. I like that take.
The Patriots right now are a very green team. There's a lot of newbies, there's a lot of rookies. And sometimes I think that also one thing maybe they shouldn't expect to get to the Super Bowl every year. I
Yeah.
think they like, I don't know if mentally they're like, oh my God, now we're gonna make it every year because this, that, and the third, and like we're all newbies and like we're that good that we're gonna make it every year. I think you have to let go of that mentality and take it a game at a time and go from there.
Yeah, they got to humble themselves. They got to flush the
Yes.
game tape. I like what you're saying. I think, yeah, weapons is a good call. Mac Hollins being the leading receiver on your team in a Super Bowl just feels like a disservice. And I'm saying that's the pot calling the kettle black. The Bills did the same thing last year. But Mac Hollins should never be your wide receiver one in a do or die game. I love the guy. He's a great energy guy.
He has great catches,
Give
but
him wide receiver 4 or 5. He should
yeah,
not
exactly.
be the leading target getter on your team in a big game. But stud and great special teamer and good energy. We got some great comments here. It looks like LAA. Yeah, Gonzalez is going to get a bag. I heard whispers today. I don't know if I believe them, but he's a sneaky trade candidate because maybe they might not want to pay him, and he's not a Mike Vrabel guy. He was the regime prior. He was inherited. And yeah, injuries have been huge. AJ Brown would be a good fit for the Pats. Yeah, fair point. Brandon Bukowski. I like the take. Diggs only shows up for his court cases. Kind of flagrant. And then we have Alec Pierce sounds like a Pat. Yeah, Alec Pierce, stud. Great deep threat. I think Drake May and him would have great chemistry. I'm personally secretly desperate for him to suit up the Buffalo Blues in the new break in the new stadium with Alec Pierce as our wide receiver too. I ain't complaining about that. Alec Pierce, Rox, you remember Alec Pierce? You know who Alec Pierce is?
Yeah, I had him in fantasy.
That's right. Good job. And he won you a second place trophy. Right?
Well, more like Bijan lost me first place
So Bijan lost you first place. How?
because he had a great game on your team.
He did have a great game on my team, and I did win the championship. Thank you for pointing that out to the people. I was just going to let you rock, but if
No.
you had to bring it up, okay.
My team did everything that they needed to do. They were up 39 points. You feel pretty
It's
comfortable being up 39 points in a championship with
with
only
one player, yeah,
left to
unbelievable.
play.
Yeah, we were at Marty Supreme, and when we got out of the theater, Bijan already. I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm gonna win this game," and I did. I beat you. That was sick.
And I went to bed at 9 p.m. because of it.
Yeah, she was upset. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have one more thing to get to today. it's Valentine's Day, right? Love is in the air. We got we got a couple doing the pod. I think this might be the first time in legit football history where a couple is co-podding. Pretty fun. But we are going to do a fun little game for you, which is 2026 NFL season crushes. This could be a player, this could be a team, but we're going to talk about who we're leaving a Valentine in their cubby, if you will. Who are we writing "Be Mine" on a little candy heart and giving? And I'll kick it off because I have a couple different angles that I want to take this. But first and foremost, we have off-season darling every year. We're gonna get to that way later in the off-season, as everybody knows. That's an August kind of game. In advance, this is not a darling contender because they were obviously a very good team this year, but I have a very hard time seeing how Liam Cohen and the Jacksonville Jaguars don't have another phenomenal season in 2026. And I would go so far as to say that I'm crushing hard on that team, on Trevor Lawrence's possibility of maybe playing his way into the MVP conversation. He was a finalist this year, I believe, for the first time in his career. Travis Etienne just continuing to be, a serviceable workhorse back. He kind of got his sea legs back underneath him this year. Jacoby Myers, Travis Hunter, an unbelievable defense that really, that team. I mean, a lot of people think had they beat Buffalo in the first round, they might have been a team that went on a run. That was the team I was the most afraid of as a Bills fan going into the playoffs. I got a huge hard eye emoji for the Jacksonville Jaguars going into the 2026 season. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
You only have one crush?
So this would be the point where there would be a discussion based upon my crush. You would be like, oh, here's why I agree with you, or not, or just compliment me on my brilliant take.
I think that's a pretty hot take.
Hot take.
Yeah.
How so?
I don't really like the Jaguars.
The Prince Who Was Promised, as Adrian knows, and that's Joe Crack's favorite nickname in the history of the show. Okay. So what don't you like about him? I mean, they gave us all we could handle.
I don't like Trevor Lawrence.
Why?
And I don't want to say it.
You have to. You already said it.
And I don't like Travis Etienne.
Why?
Because I had him in fantasy and sometimes he pooped the bed.
This year?
No, last year.
No, he fully pooped the bed last year.
Yeah, it was
like
terrible.
I said, he got his sea legs back this year.
Yeah, but still, you burn me once, you're done.
That is a risky way to play fantasy football. Guys have better seasons all the time. You can't blacklist them for a bad year.
But yeah, I mean, that's fine. The only team I have hard eyes for is the Bills, and so I will never crush on another team.
Well, let's talk about why you have a crush on the Bills.
Well, just because they're my team.
Okay, yes, but this is an objective podcast called Legit Football, not Legit Bills. Now the Bills can be your crush team if you want them to be. But
no, they're not. They were not even on my crush list. I only did individuals.
Let's hear it.
Well, I'm gonna save the best for. Can I talk about college?
I suppose so. That's an interesting route to take.
Can I just name? I'm gonna do it really quick.
You got a prospect you like? You got a young rookie, upcoming QB you really like?
Well, I'm sending Valentines to 3 people. And my first one is gonna be a special shout out to Jonathan Taylor because he was really great for fantasy this year. Towards the end of the season, he wasn't as good, but he was so good at the beginning, and then he picked it back up a little bit at the end that I can't help but be happy. And I think I didn't accidentally pick him. I actually picked him. I always do this during the draft where I panic and I draft someone that I'm not meant to draft. But last year was Kenneth Walker and he did amazing and I loved him.
Yeah, pretty crazy that you put your foot down in our draft prep this year. We do our draft every year at Chili's. And Roxanne put her foot down over some honey chipotle chicken crisper saying, I don't care what you tell me, I'm drafting David Njoku this year. I don't care what you tell me. And she took him in like the 3rd round, and he sucked.
He was so bad. I didn't even end up having him.
You cut him, and you ended up getting a Rondé Gadsden, who kind of saved the tight end position for you, and Darren Waller. You kind of platooned
Yeah,
tight
I
end.
had to switch them off a lot.
You streamed tight ends.
Yeah, I did. Just like I stream my defense.
Rock's big fan of streaming defenses.
Yeah.
You had the Burrow Chase stack, got you the runner-up trophy.
Well, not until, the end of the season, because obviously I was missing Burrow for a long time.
And you had Danny Jones during those weeks.
Yeah, I
So let's
did.
talk. Who else you got on your crush list? You said you had
Okay,
three.
so then I have Fernando Mendoza.
Okay, so let's talk about that. When did you learn that that person existed? Be honest.
I learned it from a TikTok
Okay.
because people were talking about how his mom has MS and my grandma had MS, and seeing
Oh no.
how sweet he is and how he always tries to include her in whatever's going on, it really warmed my heart. And I
Yeah,
hope that
that's cute.
him going into the NFL is not going to change him at his core, because
It won't.
fame and money and everything gets involved, and that can
Yeah, it
sometimes
won't.
change people.
He's
And
got a heart of gold. He's a good kid.
yeah, and it was like so sweet seeing that, and like, ugh, that just warmed my
So,
heart.
what
So,
team do we think is going to get Fernando Mendoza in the draft
w-
season this year?
well, whoever gets a first round pick, which, hot take, or this might not be a hot take, it's so tough for promising rookie QBs to go to terrible teams.
And it's going to happen to Fernando Mendoza. Do you want to know where he's going?
The Raiders.
The Raiders. With
EJ, it's time to celebrate.
I will say, for whatever it's worth, they did get Clint Kubiak as their head coach, who was number one on my list to be the Bills' new head coach, and he was the offense coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. So
Mm.
pretty big hire. Reigning Super Bowl champion Clint Kubiak. Fernando Mendoza. They got Ashton Genty. They got a good up and coming running back. Raiders are not. They was. I
And they're gonna get a
contemplated.
last place schedule.
I contemplated doing the Raiders as my darling team. I had thought about teasing the darling team, but it's so early to even have darling discussions. I really wanted them to hire Sean McDermott, but Sean McDermott decided not to
Yeah.
pursue a job this cycle. So wherever he goes, I'll be rooting for him. He's the next Brian Dable for me. I'm just a guy who I'll follow and just root for.
Which I'm so sad that they didn't bring Brian Dable back as head coach.
Would have been awesome, but I think they had a vision with Joe Brady. This is the last straw for that regime for me to trust. Obviously, I didn't like Joe Brady as OC, so maybe a lot of people I'm hearing say maybe his OCing was impacted by the way McDermott wanted the offense run. It could be scapegoaty. We'll have to see. I got to be open-minded. Beans earned my trust enough with the selection of Josh Allen and with a lot of the savvy maneuvers he's made over the years. He's built at least a contending team every year. It hasn't built a championship team, or else we would have a championship by now. But I gotta withhold my judgment. I'm loving what I'm reading in the chat right now. We have T-Law might be the next Sam Darnold. And if he goes to another team, he wins Super Bowl. That's interesting now, because I feel like the Jags, they're proving to have organizational stability now. Not sure if I agree with that. Then we have Joe Crack. My crush got to be Giants. Harbaugh with Dart, Scat duo with Neighbors coming back, the emergence of Wandale. I think Harbaugh can handle the media pressure. The defense with Abdul Carter, health is key. Yeah, the Giants really, really, things are looking up in I would say New York, but we all know it's New Jersey. Things are looking up in New Jersey for the first time really in a long time. Dart, Scat, Neighbors, Wandale, who Armand is now pointing out as a free agent. So maybe we'll see if they can get him back. It'll be fun. Free agency will be fun this year. The quarterback carousel will be fun this year. I'm looking for Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa. I'm looking for those guys to get new teams. I think watch out for some trades. Watch out for some motion. Does Rodgers come back and play for Mike McCarthy again? He really shouldn't. I really feel like, oh my goodness, give it a rest, buddy. And then we have, will the Bills defense be better next year? We got Jim Leonard as our defensive coordinator, former Bills player, former Ravens player, truly one of my favorite safeties that I've ever seen play, because he was so undersized, but he always made plays. I think he's going to be so good for Cole Bishop's development. I love Ed Oliver and Greg Rousseau. Terrell Bernard, health was an issue this year, kept him from being good, but I love our young cornerback duo of Benford and Hairston. Long story short, I do believe the Bills defense will be a little bit better next year than it was this year with Jim Leonard at the helm. And I give him 2 years to get the ship right. Whereas I only give Joe Brady one. If the offense struggles at all this year, I think Joe Brady should be we got to load up that cannon that's pointed at the sun, and we got to just send them directly into the sun. But we'll see. Um, I don't either, Armand. I think the Jets are, like I said, it's going to get worse before it gets better. One more horrendous, disgusting, terrible. I want to throw up every time I watch them play football year, and then the year after that, I think they will start to find some hopefully some building blocks. Will Malik Willis be a starter somewhere else? I'm seeing reports he might. If you think about it, there's a lot of names that are in that category. We have players like Tanner McKee, players like Malik Willis, players like Joe Milton, backup quarterbacks who I think a lot of people are striving to see maybe start at some point. So Malik Willis is on the list, but don't forget we got Kyler switching teams. We got Tua possibly switching teams. It'll be interesting to see how that quarterback carousel shakes out. We have a comment from somebody called M. Lisa. And she says, "Who's the hottie in the black?" Not sure if her eyes are. I'm wearing white, but thank you. My name is Kevin Phillip Fox, host of Legit Football. Roxanne looks like she's in some navy blue, I think.
Oh no, it's black.
Oh, okay. Maybe she was talking about you.
I think she was.
Roxanne, anything you want to say to the good people? Any more crushes? I
Yeah, well,
feel
I wanted to end on a high note for my final crush, and that's gonna be Shakir.
why.
Because he's just so sweet. And he's really good and he's fast on his feet. And yeah, I drafted him in fantasy and he's just great. Like, also just in terms of like what he does for Buffalo, like he's just like a good person. But also, I think that he is an amazing wide receiver. Like some of the plays, talk about yards after catch. Shakir's your guy.
I love it. I love Khalil Shakir. I got his jersey. One of my favorite players. I'd like to see him get some help in the receiver room. I don't feel like he should be the only wide receiver on our team who's capable of creating anything.
Hmm.
I'm looking at you, Josh Palmer. I'm looking at you, Keon Coleman. Go ahead, babe. Show him your dance. Keon Coleman. Show him your dance. I love
I love
cookies.
cookies.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun to see how that shakes out. I love all the Bills love today. I know we got some Bills fans in the chat. I know we have two Bills fans on the pod. My crushes, if I were to just rapid fire, just wrap up, I think it's hard not to crush on Mike McDonald after he kind of reinvented the way defense is played on the national stage. That was incredible to watch. I absolutely am envious of those darn Seahawks fans who get a ring before the Bills. Sam Darnold, the 2018 quarterback class, first one of that class to get a ring. Really would have bet my mortgage that it would have been Joshua Patrick Allen, but there's nothing we can do about that. Sam Darnold, mad respect to you, bro. I think maybe if I had to give another one, Tampa Baker, man, I'd love to see him get his crap together this year because first half of the year last year, I was looking at an MVP. And I'd like to see that again because we all know the NFL is more fun when Baker Mayfield is truck sticking linebackers on 3rd and 6 to get a crucial first down, and then he's injured until he wants to yell at somebody, and then he's healthy again. I absolutely adore Baker Mayfield. Then we have Armand, his crush, Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Wow, what a scary hire, and the culture of defense that Baltimore has. Man, I am holding my darn breath every single time the Bills play the Ravens next year because I think the Ravens are going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Hard not to be crushing on Cole Bishop, Joe. If I don't see you in a darn Cole Bishop jersey at the new Ralph week 1 next year, then I'm going to question our friendship and everything I thought I knew about you as a person. Also, you still owe me a Ray McLeod jersey. Anything else, Rox, you want to say?
Thanks for having me, guys.
This was really fun. But at the end of every legit episode, I give the hosts a chance to sign off and say what they want to say. Rox, why don't you give everybody a little monologue before we tie the bow on this podcast?
I don't have a monologue. All I want to say is do good, be good, happy Valentine's Day, Love one another and go Bills.
I love it. That was absolutely brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. We might see if we can swing an around the horn situation, but I'm telling you right now, you better get the bleep button ready for this guy. I don't think I would allow Joe Crack on the pod unless he signed a waiver. Because that guy, let me tell you, you got to watch your mouth. We got Armand. I'm sorry, buddy. I apologize. I feel for Jets fans. It's gonna be a second, but hang in there. Okay, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, but I think it will get better. He will sign the waiver, so maybe we'll see Joe Crack on a future episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending a chunk of your Valentine's Day with us. I enjoyed this immensely. Roxanne, you did a wonderful job. You'll definitely be back on the show. I'm
I
confident.
got flagged.
You did. You got flagged pretty hard. Yeah. You sat in the penalty box.
I did.
That was no bueno.
You were
But it's
talking about
okay.
hockey and basketball. Like, we're just talking about football here. Penalty box is hockey. You said
Drake
yellow
May
card.
getting to the Super Bowl is like Tyrese Halliburton getting to the finals before Jalen Brunson. I'm telling you, that's a great take. Drake May getting to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen is Tyrese Halliburton getting to the Super Bowl before Jalen Brunson. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Phillip Fox. I could not be more grateful to Roxanne, my Valentine, and all my crushes that I talked about, along with the Seattle Seahawks for keeping us from having to deal with another Patriots dynasty. Oh my God, I could not throw up in my mouth hard enough at that thought. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kevin Phillip Fox. She's Roxanne DePalma. We are the Legit Football NFL Podcast, and we are out.